edition of News and Views, and shortly we'll be joined by Sheikh Zakariyya Harnekar from the MJC. Also coming up, shock and grief with renowned Al Jazeera journalist over the martyrdom of her colleague Mariam Abu Dhaka as well. And we've seen this video of Yumna Al Said. So we will be joined by Yumna very, very shortly as well. There is a Back to Ethics Community Day we'll be discovering, and also the Abir Zayat tour uncovering Al Aqsa, or Dr. Abir Zayat coming through next week to South Africa. So we'll tell you a lot more. But right now, let's talk about the MJC. They've issued a press statement that was dated yesterday. The MJC standing against anti-Semitism and demands moral clarity as far as Gaza is concerned. Sheikh Zakariyya, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome and jazakallah khairan so much for your time.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khairan for having us.
Yes, I've read this press release from the MJC, and it is clear that what we are seeing, not only in South Africa, but right across the entire world, where anyone or seen to be critical of the genocide that is unfolding in Gaza, and this obviously leaves one with a moral dilemma, having absolutely no choice but to condemn and to criticize the actions of Israel. And this has been taking place now for close on to 2 years. But again, hiding behind the defense of what is called anti-Semitism. And this is what the MJC is condemning.
Yes, certainly. The Zionist machinery is constantly at work, monitoring people with an eagle's eye, keeping tabs on whatever anybody says, such that when those people are trying to call out the genocide, just a little slip up in their wording, may be construed as anti-Semitism, whilst they themselves don't give any coverage or speak with any degree of clarity on the genocide that is unfolding before our eyes in HD. We can see it, watch it on our phones. We can see children being shot at. We can see, people's limbs being blown off, people's houses being destroyed, probably their future being shaped by the trauma that they are being subject to. So we felt that it's important that the Zionist machinery that tries to bully people by nitpicking at their posts and their slip-ups in their speaking against the genocide, to try and bully us into making it seem as if we condone anti-Semitism. No, we have clarity in our minds that our Jewish cousins, they too have the moral clarity to see this genocide for what it is and to speak out against it. And we will not be bullied by anybody into pushing narratives that they want us to push. Rather, we will say that, if you want to demand a moral clarity on any issue, then there should be no greater issue that moral clarity should be had on than this genocide in our time. It's probably the most horrendous thing that we've witnessed to this degree. For the entirety of my lifespan, I can't think of anything worse.
Well, I think we can all say the same, and we see, we hear of the sentiments being expressed right across the entire world, where the world hasn't seen what we are witnessing right now. But again, with the harsh or the stark reality, and as you point out also in the press statement, talking about double standards at play, hypocrisy, and again, when you look at these Zionist voices who seem to be deeply offended by online posts, by terminology, by narratives as well. Yet we see what is of concern in South Africa as well. And, we've seen the SABC also come under fire in terms of its editorial reluctance to actually use terms like Holocaust when making reference to mass atrocities, linguistic gatekeeping that is taking place both morally and journalistically as well. And this is the reason why people are up in arms. This is why the Palestine solidarity movements are up in arms as well, because we see these double standards being applied.
Certainly, the outrage at the use of a word which has a dictionary meaning that anybody can use in the English language, it's dumbfounding. Like how can one even have a problem with that? So because we call something the Holocaust and that refers to a specific historic incident, um, how does that strip the word of its linguistic meaning that anybody can use to apply? And especially when they want to draw parallels between the atrocities that were meted out, and highlight the fact that we as a human society, we said never again in what was perpetrated in the Holocaust. We as human beings will never be witness and will never tolerate that again. If nothing can be like the Holocaust, then what meaning does the statement never again have? It's simply it doesn't make sense at all. So I think Dr. Rampele's statement and her likening of the genocide in Gaza to the Holocaust, it is a powerful statement. It evokes emotions, but the people who have those emotions evoked within them need to question themselves and ask, is the suffering of Palestinians not the same like our suffering? Are we more human than them? Are are some people better than others such that their suffering doesn't mean as much to us? Or is it because the color of their skin is different, or their origin is different? And the crazy thing is, the Palestinians are Semites. So, um, you know, this is like a type of human hypocrisy. For us, human lives are all to be valued. Suffering of one group of people is not different from the suffering of another group of people, especially when the suffering is on account of injustice. And we as human beings, we cannot tolerate that being perpetrated in our world without us doing whatever is in our power to oppose that.
Yes, and also Sheikh Zakaria, you made reference to Dr. Mampela Rampele's interview on SABC, and you make mention of this in your press release, where you say we call on our media to uphold fairness by exposing the deliberate erasure of a people. Now, here we have a media outlet like the SABC, paid from taxpayers' money. It is a government sponsored media organization, where on the one hand we see this total disconnect. We have a government that has taken this matter to the ICJ, to the ICC. We know what our government's position is as far as the genocide is concerned, yet you have a government institution like the SABC, again, having its own editorial policy. And I think this, because it's a publicly funded institution, as a government institution, it has a duty to report with integrity, with accuracy, and balance. And this is exactly what you are calling for as the MJC as well.
Of course, the emotional outburst of the reporter was appalling, and it really was illogical. And so we call upon the SABC to have an internal analysis of what went down there. Is the person fit to report on issues of this nature? And follow the internal disciplinary processes, but not leave the matter uh, and let it slide and take no action. Our narratives within our community cannot be shaped by perceptions from outside uh, countries and influences and the like. We are South Africa. We've had our experiences as a country, and that shapes the way we view the world. We were subject to apartheid. We can still see our community reeling from the effects of that, trying to claw its way back into normality. And this is something that's palpable to us, and that makes us as South Africans have the moral clarity to call out apartheid wherever we see it. And many people that have experienced the worst atrocities of apartheid firsthand have said that what is taking place in Palestine is not only an apartheid, it's far worse than that. So, um, we can't understand how our own state broadcaster can allow this, and we hope that they will take the matter further and do the necessary.
Yes, and also I think as a religious body, the MJC, calling on the Jewish religious leadership, as per this press release in South Africa, to demonstrate moral courage and condemn these atrocities that have been committed by Israel?
Religious bodies serve to provide direction, moral direction, and clarity to its constituents. When there were terrorist groups that claimed to be Muslim perpetrating crimes throughout the world, the Muslim community of South Africa felt no qualms and had no issues with clarifying our position on that matter, calling out the atrocities, distancing ourselves from those atrocities, despite the fact that we had no hand in it whatsoever. It was simply perpetrated by people that claimed to be of our faith. Similarly, in this case, we find it to be a moral obligation of the Jewish community to call out the atrocities that are being perpetrated in its name. Now, we do not conflate and say it's the Jewish people that are doing this. Yes, it is Zionists that's doing it, but they have tried to hijack the religion of Judaism for their own purposes, and so we feel imperative of our Jewish cousins to call out the crimes that are being perpetrated, and we will even say wrongly ascribed to them. So, just like it was our moral obligation to distance ourselves and give moral guidance to our constituents, the Muslims in South Africa, that we do not perpetrate such terrorist acts like the likes of ISIS and those people do, so too we feel that imperative that Jewish religious bodies and Jewish cultural bodies give guidance to their constituents that action does not represent them and they should speak against it.
Well, Sheikh Zakariyya, Jazakallah khairan so much for that, and also for taking time out with us this morning right here on Salam Media. Sheikh Zakariyya Harnekar, Executive Council Member of the MJC, with us this morning. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Well, we're going for a quick break. We come back and we will be joined by renowned Al Jazeera journalist and Gaza correspondent, Yumna Al Said.